I've seen dozens of videos on how to lock in, how to be focused, monk mode, or whatever that is. And probably you started doing the practices of those videos, but it never worked for you. And the reason is because you're lost. And you're lost because of two things. Maybe is it that you don't know yourself enough to understand the number one skill or the number one thing that you're actually gifted at, that you can thrive at if you were given the chance. Or two, you're somebody like me who has a bunch of passions and interests and have a hard time choosing and deciding, all right, this is what I want to do. And dude, 10 years ago, I was watching a video just like this. And writing, writing was the main thing that solved everything for me. And I'll tell you why in a second. But before I get to that, so I was like in a position, bro, where I was seeing all my friends either in college or already graduating college, posting their photos with their diplomas. And I was jealous, man. I was very envious and frustrated. And I was also questioning everything. I would be like, God, why did you make me this way? Why did you give them clarity and not me? Why do why did you give me all these passions? And some of them, they don't even make money, you know? And I wasn't jealous of the kind of lifestyle that these people were going to live, because I, for the love of God, will never ever let a man tell me to go to work at 9 a.m. But I was more so frustrated because they had the courage to say, all right, I'm going to become an architect, I'm going to become an engineer or a doctor, and I'm going to put myself through school 5 years. And in those 5 years, it's all going to be, you know, focus on this. And I'm going to come on the other side and I want to be the thing I said I was going to do. And for me, I just felt like there was none of that. And the big problem was that, dude, is like, I have all these passions, but all these passions, like, there is no job or role that describes that are looking for this kind of person that I am. And dude, that was so frustrating. But the most frustrating thing about being in this season of my and being in that season of my life was the lack of motion. And if you study philosophy, man, there is a concept that, like joy and fulfillment happens when you're actually in motion. Because life is like a river in a sense. And if you stop the water from flowing, it becomes a pond. And what do we know about ponds? They stink. And that's the state of confusion. That's how it feels to be confused and not know what to do. Like everything stinks. You're stagnant, bro. And you're seeing everybody pass you by. You see people online crush it, and you have the tools. You know what to do. You know that it requires discipline. You know that you have to lock in, and you can do those things, but you just don't know where to channel your energy into. So here's the thing, man. That video gave me two things to get clear about who I was and get to know myself better. I will give this to you right now, but I'm also going to explain how writing will solve all those problems for you. So, number one is to look at your credit card statement and see where you're spending money at. I mean, where is it that your money's going? That will give you a clear pattern on how you're betting with your wallet, because that is like, I don't know if you value your time, that is your most valuable asset. But then after that, money is the thing that people value a lot. And if you're giving it away to companies, it says a lot about who you are and about what you value. So that's a pattern. And two, take a personality test like the Myers-Briggs, and that will give you 4 letters, which will tell you a lot about your personality, your strengths and weaknesses, and also might give you ideas on what career choices to pursue. All right, so that is part one, like getting clarity, getting a little bit of clarity about who you are and what you're interested in. But I would love to say that after watching that video, everything clicked for me. Like, wow, I had a moment where, like it was written with letters that this is the thing I should become. It wasn't like that. I think that getting to know yourself is a process, and it can last maybe your entire lifetime. Maybe you're going to spend the rest of your life figuring out who you are. And it's okay, man. It's okay because people change, right? The things I want now, very different things than what I wanted when I was 20 years old. And, but the main thing is, this is where writing comes in. As I told you before, the most frustrating part of being stuck and not knowing what to do and feeling lost is the lack of motion and the lack of momentum. But the way you create that emotion, even when you're not ready, like the answers are not ready yet, or you're not clear about what is the main thing you should focus on and what you want to do, the best thing I found is learning to write. And I'll explain why in a second, but let me share a quote with you that I actually discovered the other day, which actually described this concept spectacularly, amazingly. Anyway, I don't even know if those words are real, but the quote says something along the lines of like when fishermen cannot go to fish because the sea is either in a hurricane mode or when like it's raining. What they do is they repair the nets, right? And it's the same concept with writing. Just right now, you're not ready to be like, all right, I'm gonna be the next Elon Musk, or I'm gonna build this AI software, or I'm going to become a become an influencer, or I'm going to become a copywriter, or I'm going to become a freaking whatever it is that you want to become. But writing can help you start repairing the nets. Because consider this, right? Say that for the next 5 years, you don't get the clarity that you're looking for. Like for the next 5 years, you you are unclear, and you arrive 5 years later, you get the answer, but all you did in this 5 years were just keep wondering what is it that you're good at and what is it that you should be doing with your life. If you arrive at that answer, then now what? Like you have the clarity, but now you have to make it happen. You still have to work, and then you have to imagine if it's a business. Then you have to learn business skills. So you will have to eventually learn to write. However, if in those same 5 years of you wondering what is it that I'm good at, you spent those 5 years learning to write. Once you get there, dude, things are going to become far more simple. And I'm not saying it's going to take you 5 years. It might take you a week. Because, dude, when you are in motion, things start to happen. Because, dude, you're not just sitting there waiting for answers. Like, you actually go and make something of yourself. And this is what happened for me. Like, I just started writing, and that gave me so much peace knowing that even though I didn't know exactly where and how I was going to live my life, I knew that I was writing and I was getting good at something. So whenever that thing that was actually my calling, my the gift that God has given me arrived, dude, I was going to be locked and ready. And that's how I feel right now. I can write, dude. I can sell anything. And writing, bro, just it never ceases to amaze me, especially for somebody like me who has like multiple skills. Because now, even though there is not a job that will fit all my passions, I can writing made a bridge for me to actually pursue the things I am interested in. Like I'm gonna give you an example. I love to read a lot, but who pays me for that? Nobody. However, I read and I use those concepts to write about for my clients, where I write emails, sales letters, DSLs, because that's the kind of clients I'm working with. I'm working with thought leaders. I do love fitness. I do love things like mindset. And dude, I get to write about those things. I'm not making money directly with that skill. I'm not a motivational coach. I'm not a guru. But I get to continue to learn about the mind, continue to learn about philosophy. And my clients think the same way, so I can write about those things for them. You know what I mean? And just the other day, I was having a chat with a friend, and it's about a position or it's about a gig that he was offering me, which might be something that might happen in the next few weeks, but it's like a really solid gig. I'm talking almost 100 grand a year or more. And it involves like all the passions I thought I was never going to make money with combined. So it involves graphic design, it involves video, it involves editing, and it involves writing. And imagine if I just had spent the last 10 years just continue to wonder what is it that I'm good at and can God show me the one thing. Had I not learned how to write, like there is no shot that I will ever be getting these opportunities to monetize all the different passions I have in in one in one position. So if you're lost, man, learn to write, and it might be in the way of copywriting because again, copywriting allows you to test multiple industries without you having to be like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. Because, dude, once you're a good writer, you can step into any company, call it into the fitness industry. If you like cigars, or if you like cars, if you like whatever it is, writing is behind the things that make these companies money. And you can dabble, you can test things until you become clear about the main thing that that it is that you're going to be focusing on. And dude, that is how you kind of like generate the clarity, right? So it's the motion thing, and writing will give you that. But anyways, hopefully this is not a ramble, and hopefully you kind of like resonate with this message, because this is the main thing I would have told myself 10 years ago whenever I was feeling lost. Learn to write. And all those moments when you see everybody else achieving things that you're unable to because you don't have the clarity yet, just focus on writing. Put your head down and learn to write. Because eventually, dude, that skill is going to pay you a lot of money, and it's going to kind of like solve all the problems that business owners have today because they didn't know how to write. And you will be in a position to win. So that's it for today. I will see you in the next one. Peace.